Well, y'all, we are back and we are on day 60 of the story. It's like almost 2 full months. My goodness. And we were talking about Mr. King Xerxes, not spelled at all like it sounds. And King, he had given this royal decree because his beautiful wife didn't want to do what he wanted her to do. Y'all ain't gonna tell me what to do with my wife. I'm sorry, y'all. Even if I'm a king. All right. Plus, Proverbs kind of told a little story about a king. Said, don't get drunk, and the king's making these decisions after a long week of drinking. Said he was in high spirits because of the drink. That means I think that the man had too much. Shouldn't be making these kind of decisions about your wife when that happened. But it's all in God's plan because he's got something coming. Let's see what we got coming. So the king had done this about she's never able to see him again. Go in there with him again. Oh, you think she's beautiful and her punishment is she can't come see you again? You think you're that great, king? Dude, she's probably celebrating. But it said also, let the king give her royal position to someone else who is better than she. Then when the king's edict is proclaimed throughout all this vast land, all the women will respect their husbands from the least to the greatest. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think she's probably going to be taken care of somewhat, even though she hasn't got that position. Maybe not. Could have been different back then. The king and his nobles were pleased with this advice. So the king did as Memucan proposed. He sent dispatch to all parts of the kingdom, to each province in its own script, and to each people in their own language, proclaiming that every man should be ruler over his own household using his native tongue. Later, when King Xerxes' fury had subsided, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what he had decreed about her. Then the king's personal attendants proposed, let a search be made for beautiful young virgins for the king. Let the king appoint commissioners in every province of his realm to bring all these beautiful young women into the harem at the citadel of Susa. Let them be placed under the care of Haggai, and the king's eunuch, who is in charge of the women, and let beauty treatments be given to them. Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. This advice appealed to the king, and he followed it. Not good advice, all you young men looking for a woman, but I guess this king followed it. Now it says, Vashti paid the price for her stand against the king. Although she was the rightful queen, she was deposed at the whim of her husband. Such was the precarious state of women and men in the royal court. Women outside the court were also subject to the king's plans. His decree that girls from the kingdom be brought into his harem was irrefutable. The girls and their families had no say in the matter. If the king summoned, the family had no choice but to surrender their daughter to the king. Y'all, no choice, huh? No choice. What a bunch of... You ain't stiff-necked at this time. You're noodlebacks. Got no backbone. That king will fall like any other man, proven over and over. God might have raised you up for moments such as this. Your daughter's going to have that done to her. Doggone it. Stand up. Remember the story about the dude running him through? Yeah, do that. Do that. Run him through. Done. King ain't doing that no more. Had no choice. I always got a choice. Don't you play that with me. Eve had a choice. She didn't have to eat the fruit. Adam had a choice. He didn't have to eat after Eve. Everybody always acting like they got no choice. You got choices. You make the wrong ones a lot, but you still got the choice. Ooh, not my daughter. No, Mr. Xerxes. You're going to need a new name. You come around me with that mess. Now it says, now there was in the citadel of Susa a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin, named Mordecai, son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, who had been carried into exile from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, among those taken captive with Jehoiakim, king of Judah. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up because she had neither father nor mother. This young woman, who was also known as Esther, which is easier to say, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Mordecai had taken her as his own daughter when her father and mother died. So sad. When the king ordered the edict when the king's order and edict had been proclaimed, many young women were brought to the citadel of Susa and put under the care of Haggai. Esther also was taken to the king's palace and entrusted to Haggai, who had charge of the harem. She pleased him and won his favor. Immediately he provided her with beauty treatments and special food. He assigned her 7 female attendants selected from the king's palace and moved her and her attendants into the best palace in the harem. Esther had not revealed her nationality and family background because Mordecai had forbidden her to do so. Every day he walked back and forth near the courtyard of the harem to find out how Esther was and what was happening to her. Before a young woman's turn came to go into King Xerxes, she had to complete 12 months of beauty treatments prescribed for the women, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 with perfumes and cosmetics. And this is how she would go to the king. Now, y'all, here we go again. I do not like all that junk. I'm sorry. I would rather see your natural beauty than the covered up version of a painted you. I'm just saying. Come on now, king. You seem like a man of low class to me. And this is how she would go to the king. Anything she wanted was given her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. In the evening she would go there, and in the morning return to another part of the harem to care for Shashgaz. Shashgaz, we're going to go with there, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the concubines. Ain't nobody want to be no concubine. She would not return to the king unless he was pleased with her and summoned her by name. When the turn came for Esther, the young woman Mordecai had adopted, the daughter of his uncle Abihail, to go to the king, she asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch, who was in charge of the harem, suggested. And Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. She was taken to King Xerxes in the royal residence in the 10th month, the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. Now the king was attracted to Esther more than any of the other women. King liked her. He thought she was cute. She should have been like, you ain't good enough, dude. Look at what you got going on here. Yeah, messy man. Anyway, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. The king gave a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his nobles and officials. He proclaimed a holiday throughout the provinces and distributed gifts with royal liberality. When the virgins were assembled the second time, Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, but Esther had kept secret her family background and nationality, just as Mordecai had told her to do, for she continued to follow Mordecai's instructions as she had done when he was bringing her up. During the time Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, became angry and conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. But Mordecai found out about the plot and told Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. And when the report was investigated and found to be true, the two officials were impaled on poles. All this was recorded in the book of the annals of the presence of, in the presence of the king. Haman, a noble in the king's court, was not aware of Esther's background with Mordecai's loyalty to the king, or he may not have plotted so openly against the Jews. However, Jewish tradition considers him to have been a descendant of the Amalekite king Agag, an enemy of Israel during Saul's reign. And the Amalekites were ancient enemies of the Jews, so perhaps his confrontation with Mordecai and resulting decree against the Jews was inevitable. Maybe it was. After these events, King Xerxes honored Haman, son of Hammedatha, and the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. All the royal officials at the king's gate knelt down and paid honor to Haman, for the king had commanded this concerning him. But Mordecai would not kneel down to pay him honor. Oh, what about Mordecai? Then the royal officials in the king's gate asked Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's command day after day?" They spoke to him, but he refused to comply. Therefore they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated, for he had told them he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. Yet having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes. In the 12th year of King Xerxes, in the first month, the month of Nisan, the that is, the lot, was cast in the presence of Haman to select a day and a month. And the lot fell on the 12th month and the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Xerxes, "There is a certain people dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom, who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from those of all the other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury." So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. "Keep the money," the king said to Haman, "and do with the people as you please." Then on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out in the script of each province and in the language of each people in Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governors of the various provinces, and the nobles of the various people. We're getting close. These were written in the name of King Xerxes himself and sealed with his own ring. Dispatches were sent by courier to all the king's provinces with the orders to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day, the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and plunder their goods. A copy of the text of the edict was to be issued as law in every province and made known to the people of every nationality so they would be ready for the day. We're going to end right there, people. Done with page 280, day 60 of the story. Now, this king, he seems so wrong, but so many of them do. I'm going to be honest with you. In these old days, now look, it's just like when we was, King David, dude knew murder was wrong. He premeditatively killed someone. They had towns for people that did it by accident to save them. This dude did it the way where there's no place to be saved. You're getting stoned. But he did it, right? And not only that, but he got the woman. Another case of being stoned. Two things that should have got you stoned. You can't tell me David didn't know that wasn't right. Right? But kings thought they were so great. And this Xerxes, dude, is wilding out. He ain't even trying to hide it. He's just going out there and acting the fool. Mr. Xerxes, don't have me coming for you now. I ain't going to play that game. No, sir. So look here. When y'all young men is out there and you looking for that special lady, trust me, she is your queen. Even if you ain't met her yet, you need to be faithful to that queen that one day you are going to have. And you need to stay faithful to that. You don't need to be looking at something else. You don't need to be thinking about nothing else. Stay faithful to that queen and wait for God to deliver that queen to you. Right? You don't got to go out there and try everyone until you find the one you like. Stay faithful to the queen that's coming. Because if you try everyone, you the wasted piece of nothing that no one wants. And young ladies, wait around for that king that's going to come. Don't be picking all these hobos along the way. King Xerxes was a hobo. Dude didn't know how to have a home. He knew how to have a party. My goodness, don't settle for that, y'all. But hey, I can get off of that soapbox. I was on it. I'm sorry. We going too long. I love y'all, and I pray y'all have a blessed day. Bye.